Hello, aren't you a sweet baby today? Hi. Hi. Oh, yes, kisses. I love you. Oh, yes, you're such a good boy. Okay, I'm trying to take a video. Hi, what should we make today? Should we make an elephant card? Should we? And then we have snacks. Okay, I love you. Hi, this is Jenna with Brown Dog Craft Company. And today we're going to be using a somewhat recently released set from Fawn called Elephant Parade. It has some stamps and dies and then a little add-on set with stamps and dies. So we're going to start off. I have a die set from Mama Elephant called In the Clouds, and this is a standalone die. It cuts out this cute cloud background and also a sun if you'd like to use the sun. I didn't use the sun on my card. And then these cute clouds. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking some Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink in Lilac, which is the lightest shade, and I'm putting that just on the outside of the cloud background. That's an A2 panel, by the way, and then also on the clouds. And then I'm bringing that in not all the way, so we're still leaving some white on our clouds. And then I'm taking the medium color in, which is Orchid, and ink blending that just around the very edges. So we get a little bit of definition from dark purple to light purple to white. And I do that on the clouds and the background. So now I'm going to put all three of those things in my splatter box here, and I'm going to take some Fawn Liquid Stardust, which is like a gold shimmer paint, iridescent paint, I guess, and I'm going to splatter that. I'm going to mix it with some water and then splatter that all over the background. So here I'm just tapping my paintbrush to get those splatters, and they're going to go everywhere on the card. And then I think I leave those in there to dry a little bit. So here I've got some Nina Classic Crest 110 pound in Solar White, and I've got all the images that I'm going to color over on my Misty door here, and I'm going to stamp those in black Memento ink. Push those all down, stamp them again to make sure we've got a nice crisp image. And then just in case I need to restamp and color something again, I leave all my images in my Misty until I'm completely done and happy with however my images turned out. So here I'm going to take some Fawn pattern paper. It's called All the Dots. I think this may be a spring release. And I'm going to trim that to just under an A2 card panel, so just under 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, ever so slightly. And that's going to be layered behind the cloud background that I ink blended onto. So we'll set that aside for now, and here we're going to work on coloring. So today I'm using my Copic markers, and we'll start with the banner. So the banner is going to be V04, V06, and V09. So I'll start with normally I start with my darkest shade, and then blend out with the middle shade a little bit, and then finally blend out again with the lightest shade. And then go back and forth between the colors as necessary to get a nice blend, or maybe to add some more shadow if you blended it out too much. So I'm going to try to stick with all the violets. So I used all V markers actually, which I don't use these very much. So it was fun to play around with the color combinations. So the elephants, I want to have more of a gray tint to them. So those are going to be V20, V22, and V28. So here I have my V28 marker that I'll go in with and lay down some shadows. And then I will blend out with the V22, and then finally with the V20 in the lightest spots. And then on the ears, I'll take some V01 and give them a little pink ear. So here I'm blending out a little bit with V22. And I find it sort of difficult to blend together both my purple and my pink Copic markers. So I think that's why I don't use them that often. But on this card in particular, I just tried to take my time and blend the colors together without overthinking it. And then a big thing that I did was I tried not to oversaturate the paper. So when the ink is wet, it looks different than when it's dry. So if I thought I blended it, you know, pretty well, but I wasn't super happy with how it looked, I just left it and let the ink dry into the cardstock some, because then when I looked at it after it had dried some, I realized that it did really blend well and it looked pretty good, and I was happy with how I colored it. So you know, I think we are our own worst critic. So you know, really it's about having fun and doing what we enjoy. So if we enjoyed the process, then it will be just fine. So here I am with the lightest color. This is V20, so it's going to have a lot of colorless blender in it. And so I did that in the lightest spots on his face, or on all the elephants' faces. And then the ears here will go in with some V01. And then to tone back that color a bit, after I color on the V01, I will go over it with my V20 again. It just tones down the pink some. And then I went back in with that V01 and added a little bit of rosy cheek. So I colored the other elephant the same way. And then the flowers, the flower crown, I added quite a bit different colors too. Let's see, we did V01, 04, 06, 20, and 28. So I just sort of randomly picked those colors and spread them out through the image. And then on the final image, I'll add some gel pen too. It's a pretty small image, so you really only need one marker for each area. The bottle here is going to be V20 and V22, and the top will be V12. And again, it's a super small image, so you don't need to do a lot of blending here. So I think then we'll color the hearts, and those are V01, V04, and V06. So here I started with the 06 and then blended that out with the 04, and then finally add a little bit of V01. And the die that cuts these hearts out is one die. So you have all these images, but you don't have to line up these teensy little dies over that. And then the mice are V20, V22, and V28. So these are pretty easy to color. They're super small. I'd say they're not exactly proportionate to the elephant, but they're very cute. So here I'm taking my darkest marker, which is V28, and I'm just adding a little bit of texture to the mice and the elephants, so they look like their little elephant skin has some texture, hopefully making it look a little bit more realistic. So I'll add some of that to their faces and their backs. And I think the coloring is done. So on that little banner, I'm going to take my clear block and my VersaFine, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment, "Hello, baby." And I'm being brave and just using my clear block instead of my Misty for that, but it worked out. I did a little test there. And then extra brave. Apparently I was feeling extra brave today because I took a clear block and inked it up with VersaFine again in black, and I'm going to stamp it directly on my card panel without the Misty, and Yay, it worked out. So this says, welcome little peanut. I figured if this didn't work out and I didn't stamp it properly, I would just stamp it on some cardstock and add a sentiment strip. So there was a workaround if it wasn't going to work out. So here I'll die cut all the images now and tape them down. I'm just cutting that out because the VersaFine takes a little bit of time to dry, and I didn't want to run it through my die cut machine too early before the ink had dried, and I didn't want to smear it. So here I have everything cut out, and I'm going to pop up with some foam tape the cloudy panel, and then once there's enough foam tape on that, we're going to add some little squares in the openings here and right along that very edge. I'll peel off all the backers, and that's going to get popped up right there on the front of that pattern paper. But here we're going to take, in the orchid ink, there's these little, I think they're bubbles in the stamp set, and I'm just going to randomly stamp them on the background. No real rhyme or reason where I put them, and if they aren't perfect, that's okay too. So just to give the background even more texture. So it's a really busy background, but I thought these were cute little circles to add to the dot pattern. So I'll get my clouds out of my splat box. Those are nice and dry now. And then I will start playing with the layout. So where everything's gonna go and what needs foam tape and what should be glued directly to the card. And I think we'll make the elephant at the top with the baby. We'll make that like Mama Elephant, and she can have the cute little flower crown. And then the elephant down on the bottom can be carrying the banner. And then the two little mice, I'll put one little mouse down there with the bottle, and trying to decide where to put this second little mouse, and I think he looks cute next to the elephant baby up on top. So I'll pull everything off and we will get to assembling. So pull all the backers off. If you ever lay out your card like that and you're not sure that you'll remember what it looks like when you pull everything off to put the adhesive on, you can always take a quick photo with your phone and then just refer back to it when you're putting everything back on your card. So I do that pretty often. So here I'll glue the elephant baby to the cloud and also the little mouse. And then I'll add foam tape to the bottom, and then just some glue to the top of the elephant because that's going to be on the cloud border. And it doesn't need to be popped up at the very, very top there. And then I'll add some foam tape to everything else. So the little mouse and the little bottle there. It's so cute. And then that'll be popped up on the left side also. And then I will glue down the bottom part of this elephant, so its legs, and then pop up behind its head. And then that'll go in the bottom left. And then for the banner, I only added foam. I added some foam strips. I only added the foam to the banner portion, the flag portion of the banner, and then peeled the backer off and just put a teeny little bit of glue under where the elephant's trunk is going to hold the banner up. And I thought that was fine. So then we'll add our cute little mouse and cloud, and then the cute elephant at the top. Just a little bit of glue at the very top there to help hold her down. And then I'll add some more liquid glue and add the crown on there with my embellishment wand. And then those are those cute little hearts that I was talking about, that the one die cut cuts them out separately. So I'll add those on. See where those look best. I think the two hearts down at the bottom. And then two more towards the top. And we're going to use some Pretty Pink Posh pearls in Pansy Purple, and I will scatter those around the card. So let's see, I will use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of those. So I like to use odd numbers. It doesn't always work out that way, but I like it when it does. So I like the really teeny size pearls. I think they might be 3 millimeter. I'm not sure, but I like the smallest, and then sometimes one size up from the smallest. I don't use the big ones too often, but it's nice. It's nice to have the option. So I'll use my embellishment wand to help pick and place those. Add a few over to the right. You know, maybe some cute little stars would be nice here too, if you had some mini stars. So I've got my triangle tray, so I can easily funnel those right back into the container. And then I'll take my gel pen and we'll add some accents, some highlights to the hearts and the elephants and into the baby bottle and the mice a little bit. And I really love how as soon as you add the gel accents, the card really seems to pop out, or everything seems to pop out and come to life. So it's one of my favorite parts about every card. Oh, and there I'll add the gel pen to the flowers. And I think that does it for today's card. Here's the final product. I really love how it turned out with purple. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.